Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'll be your host this afternoon, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, my brother Alex. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Looking great, feeling great. Can't complain.
With these Zoom podcasts, I never know which way to point. I'm always worried that I'm going to mess it up, but I think I got it right.
I don't know. Am I side by side on your screen? Because you're top, I'm bottom.
Well, like Major League Baseball standings, that's right. I'm side by side, actually.
Oh, well, this ain't baseball, all right?
Speaking of standings, look who's atop the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills, 7-2. Look, that game was a surprise to me. I understand West Coast team going to the East Coast, playing in the noontime slot is usually a bad news for the West Coast team. But the Seahawks were coming off a bye week, and I thought, okay, the Bills are going to get a little bit of a beat down here. But nope, that's not what happened. The Bills took care of business.
Yeah, man. I mean, they hung up 44 on them. That's the most that the Seahawks have given up under Pete Carroll.
Right after he got that fat contract too, right?
That's right. By the way, if you follow me on Twitter at Brooklyn Gaucho 1, that's a new betting trend right there. The team that gives the head coach in the NFL a contract extension right before the game on Sunday
loses.
Is 0-1.
Hey, how long was that contract extension for? Like, how far does it take them?
I don't know. I just read the headline. I don't know.
Pete Carroll is 69 years old. Like, how long is he going to be manning the sidelines? I mean, look, we just elected a president who's 78, for fuck's sake.
Wait, hold on. How old is Pete Carroll?
69.
Okay, it's through his 74th birthday.
Oh, my God.
I mean, Bill Belichick is probably older than that.
I don't know how old Bill
He's got to be up there.
Yeah, no, he is. But again, like –
yeah, but these guys don't do anything. They just sit on the freaking sideline or stand on the sideline.
It's a tough job, man. Yeah, Belichick's 68.
Is that me or is that you?
What?
There we go. I mean, but he doesn't have to – he just stands on the sidelines and calls plays. He doesn't have to get out there and do anything.
Yeah, but it's a tough job. I mean, it's a 7-day-a-week job.
Nah, yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, that's,
for a guy who's 69 years old, look, we just gave the toughest job on the planet to a guy who's 78.
Well, see, now that guy doesn't do a lot because he's got people to do a lot of work for him.
Yeah, but again, it's stressful.
Well, yeah. I mean, all the white hair on your, you might be stressed too with all the, the white fuzzy hair on your face.
Yeah, that tells you I've had some tough jobs in my life.
But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that the Bills won or that the Bills hung 44 on them because the Seahawks defense ain't that good.
No, it's not. They've got some problems back there.
That's really where their issue is their defense. And, I still think that they can contend for a Super Bowl or, to play in one. But, I mean, is Russell Wilson going to have to bail them out or try to bail them out every week? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it boils down to. He has to play MVP caliber football every week. Because his offense gets no break. They've got to put up 35, 40 points every week, or they could lose. Look, they almost lost. They lost that game to Arizona, right?
Right.
And it was 37-34, something crazy like that. So, 2 weeks in a row they put up 34 points and lose.
Yeah, it's not good. And
That's,
now I think they play. I think they play the Rams next week.
yeah. Well, and the Rams are, the Rams are their own kind of problem.
So
They had a bye this week, right? Which they
the Rams had a
desperately
bye. Yeah.
needed. So that should be a heck of a matchup next week. Staying in the NFC West, we've been bragging about how good the NFC West is and all this, but they had a rough weekend. You had the Packers taking care of the Niners on Thursday night. The Niners look like they're ready to call it done for 2020. I mean, the amount of injuries that team has, it's half their
Well,
roster. They've got more guys on the injured list than they do on their roster.
yeah. I mean, they have way too many injuries, and it's only for so long that teams just can't. I mean, they've had injuries and plus COVID and all that since week one. So, and
Yeah.
then on top of that, with no training camp or short training camp, no preseason, it's just too much for the 49ers to overcome, I think, at
It's
this
actually
point.
incredible that they're 4-5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And I don't even see them playing spoiler, like you can kind of tell that if a team can, might spoil it for some teams down the road, but I mean, it's just too many injuries. I mean, they're playing with their third string quarterback. They're not.
Yeah, it's rough. It is really rough for them.
So
And
and
then,
and and to be clear, it's not a Super Bowl hangover. This is strictly
oh
injuries,
yeah,
I think, that have,
yeah,
you know.
it's injuries, and I mean it happens. Every, not every team, but there's always one or two teams that seem to get bit by the injury bug worse than others, and this year just happens to be the 49ers. I can't think of another team in the NFL that has it worse than they do, because I'm telling you, it's literally half. It is literally half of their roster. Half of
Yeah.
their rosters on the injured list at this point, and that's too much to overcome. The Cardinals had a chance to catch the Seahawks, and technically they would actually be in front, right? Because they would hold the tiebreaker over the Seahawks. But then they face this Miami team at home, and Tua looks, and I can't say his last name. It takes too much effort for me. But Tua looks like he could be the real deal. I mean, he looked good yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I think him and Kyler Murray look pretty good.
That was a fun game.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that once Brady and Breeze retire and Phillip Rivers retires, I think the NFL is in good hands with Herbert and Tua and uh,
Murray.
Murray, maybe even Joe Burrow. So yeah, I mean, no, the Dolphins are a team you got to watch out for because they're playing sneaky good. Like their defense is. I know they gave up a lot of points yesterday, but their defense is legit. I mean, we saw what that defense did to the Rams a couple weeks ago, but that's a team right there that could sneak in and make some noise maybe, or maybe steal a game in the playoffs if they happen to get in. I don't know.
Look, they're 5-3 right now, which I think still puts them on the outside looking in terms of the playoffs. Because you'd have the Bills, Steelers, Titans, Chiefs, and then the Ravens at 6-2. So that's five teams. So they're right now tied for those last two spots with the Browns at 5-3, the Colts at 5-3, and the Raiders at 5-3. So
Yeah.
there's a bit of a logjam there for those last two spots, but 5-3, you do it twice. That's a 10-6 season. That could very well be enough to get you in the playoffs.
And real quick, I'm gonna go backwards real quick because we are going to give this man his props. Josh Allen is a real NFL quarterback. Okay, the guy is making shit happen. So he's playing really good, and we thought the addition of Diggs, I'm sure that's helped a little bit, but he's not only throwing him the ball. I mean, he's using all of his wide receivers, and he's not turning the ball over a lot. So
Yeah,
I mean, he had
415 yards yesterday with 3 touchdowns, 31 of 38. They threw the ball a lot against the Seahawks. And again,
yeah,
not
yeah,
the best defense, but you still got to sling it 38 times and make 31 connections for 415 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's a good day at the office. Josh Allen looked really good yesterday.
Yeah. So I know there was a lot of sayers out there that he wasn't made for the NFL, but
yeah,
I kind of like the kid.
And the important thing for him has been the lack of turnovers. I mean, he has not turned the ball over much. He's got 19 TDs, only 5 interceptions. You know, if you're throwing the ball at a 4-1 ratio, that's pretty good. I mean, and we're not talking about 1 or 2 games. We're talking about half the season now. So,
Right.
you know, he certainly looks every bit the part of a premier quarterback at this point.
Yeah.
The other team to talk about from the AFC East are the Patriots and the Jets. Any interest in the game tonight?
Oh, I'm definitely watching. I don't care. I'm watching, but I mean, it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the weather.
The Jets on prime time will be ugly. It's actually supposed to be nice at MetLife Stadium tonight in the 60s.
This is the Jets' second primetime game this season. Like, what the fuck were they thinking?
Whose idea was that? Do they finally get a win? They're 0-8. Do they get a win tonight?
I don't know. I mean, the Patriots aren't a good fucking team, bro.
No, they're not. They're not. They've got their own issues, but the Jets are horrible. Hey, if you're the Jets, do you give up on Sam Darnold and draft Trevor Lawrence with the first pick? Or Justin Fields?
Well, the Jets, the first thing I do if I'm the Jets, I give up on Adam Gase and I clean house. That's what I really do.
Yeah.
But and yes, I don't, because if you bring in Trevor Lawrence, you still have to get a running game, you got to get wide receivers, you got to get an offensive line. Like, that team, if they start now, maybe in 5 years, they can, start winning and competing. Right? They are no different than the fucking Texans. It's a rebuild. So you can bring in fucking Joe Montana, but if you don't have a run game and you don't have wide receivers and an offensive line, you're not going to win games.
Yeah, and I think with Darnold, it's hard to tell if he's a good quarterback or not at this point.
Yeah, you can't tell. You can't. Impossible.
Now, if they have the first pick, there's going to be quite a few teams that are going to want to bite at the Trevor Lawrence apple. They may be able to swap out of that first spot, drop down just a few spots, and, get a good haul for it. Because who are the other teams that are going to be in for that number 1 pick? The Giants, the Redskins, the Lions,
Jaguars,
the Jaguars, the Texans,
Washington,
the Texans
Panthers, maybe.
in on it. Huh? Cowboys could be in on it. Basically, all of the NFC East.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I can see the Cowboys doing a haul. Jerry loves to make a splash. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a chance to trade up for Trevor Lawrence. He'd do it.
Well, the question becomes, what do you do about Dak Prescott, right? Like, what would be the plan with him? And it's hard to make any decisions with him because you don't know how he's going to look.
Look, if a team is going to the Cowboys are another team that they need some work on that roster. And do you really want to tie up 30% or whatever it is of your salary cap to one player when you have other holes? Not to mention you're paying Zeke, you're paying Cooper. I mean, I don't know, man.
And really, they can't do anything until they get rid of McCarthy. I thought
McCarthy was the fucking answer.
I did, but I can't believe how bad he's been with the Cowboys. I mean, he's just been terrible.
He's been pretty bad.
And I don't understand what happened, but he's already lost that locker room. So yesterday they were saying Elliott wasn't going to play. They didn't disclose the injury, just said he wasn't going to play. Then he did play. it's obvious that the inmates are running the asylum. They have no idea what they're doing. I think he's lost the locker room, and it's hard to come back from that. When you lose the locker room that quickly, you did something wrong, and it's just not going to work. It's
I
better
hate to
to
say
cut
it.
bait now.
I hate to say it, but as long as Jerry Jones and his son are around, that franchise is not going to win. It's not going to win a championship. And it's really a shame because that franchise is, I mean, they were like the class of the 70s, right? The 80s, the 90s, maybe not
Right?
the 80s, but the 90s most certainly.
Yeah.
And it feels like Jerry Jones has held that franchise back. And, you know, they had Bill Parcells, they had Jimmy Johnson, and, obviously there was a power struggle there, right?
Yep.
And look at the head coaches that he's gotten after that. It's a bunch of yes sirs and average head coaches.
Yep.
Jason Garrett is a perfect example of average, and that's as good as the Cowboys are going to be. And I really think Jerry Jones, unfortunately, is holding that whole franchise back, man. I don't get it.
It's crazy. Hey, let's move on. Um, I know
No,
we're I know we're going to argue here. Now, are the Steelers still pretenders? Because they're 8-0. We're halfway through the season. They are 8-0. They have the best record in the NFL.
hmm
And you're telling me they're not a contender?
correct.
Could you repeat your answer, sir?
What is correct?
A little nod to Alex Trebek. I like that.
That's right.
R.I.P. Alex Trebek. Look, they won ugly yesterday for sure, but they're
Yeah.
8-0. They're
Yeah,
gonna
that's nice.
look. If the season ended today, the path to the Super Bowl goes through Steeltown.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
They'd be the
Because
one
it's no
seed.
gimme. It's no gimme that they would win every game.
I said if the season ended today.
I mean, I'm more impressed with a team like the Buffalo Bills. I'm more impressed with a team like the Titans. I'm impressed with teams like the Saints, who handed out a smackdown. I'm impressed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm impressed with the Green Bay Packers, who don't have anybody. I'm impressed with the Seahawks. I'm not impressed with the Steelers, man. And you know what? And neither is Dad. So if he's not impressed, I am most certainly not impressed.
Dad's never impressed with the Steelers. The Steelers win the
Yeah, I
Super
know.
Bowl and he's not impressed.
Yeah, I know.
He's still
But no, man. I mean,
he's still in love with the Terry Bradshaw, Lynn Swan days.
yeah, yeah.
Look,
I mean,
it was
they beat the Cowboys. They won a game they're supposed to win. Their record is nice. It's beautiful. It's undefeated. But talk to me in the playoffs. That's what I want to see. The playoffs.
they're a contender. They're just as much a contender as anybody else because you know what? At the end of the day, on any given Sunday, they can beat any of those teams, especially if any of those teams that you mentioned in the AFC have to go to Pittsburgh. The Bills, I have very little faith in the Bills that the Bills could go to Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers. I have some faith in the Titans that they could, but I would still make the Steelers favored. And quite frankly, even the Chiefs, I would wonder if they could beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. The Steelers' defense is good, their offense is good, and look, they're good everywhere. They have not been impressive. They were not impressive yesterday. They were very impressive 2 weeks ago when they beat the Ravens. So I think the Steelers are a contender, just like those other division leaders. I feel like all of those division leaders and the Baltimore Ravens, to me, are all contenders. I wouldn't be completely shocked to see any of them go. Now, if you tell me that the Raiders, right, at 5-3, barely going to make the playoffs as it stands right now, yeah, they're not. To me, they're not a contender. I would be shocked if they made the playoffs, right?
They are a dark horse.
Huh?
The Raiders are a dark horse.
But they're not making this. But they're not making the Super Bowl. To me, they're not a contender. They're going to make the playoffs.
They're not making
the playoffs.
They're not making the Super Bowl. They're not making the Super Bowl, but they're going to make the playoffs. That's a dark horse team right there. And if they have to play the Steelers, they could very well beat them. Heck, they could beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, Alex, I could beat LeBron James in a game of one-on-one if I kicked him in the ding-ding first and scored, right?
Well, you just said any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday, that's right.
Okay.
Let's face it. The odds that the Raiders are going to go into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers, or go into Buffalo and beat the Bills, or go into Baltimore and beat the Ravens, it's not very good. You can't tell me that you have a whole lot of faith in the Raiders beating the Ravens in the playoffs, or beating the Steelers in the playoffs, or beating the Bills. I won't even talk about the Chiefs, because I still think the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. But if the Chiefs have to go to Pittsburgh, that's not an easy out. And so at the end of the day, everybody has a chance. But everybody has a chance at the end of the day. But would you plunk down your hard-earned money and bet on the Raiders to beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh in December? No, you wouldn't.
In 2001 and 2007, you can throw fucking odds out the fucking window, because odds didn't matter then in the Super Bowls. So
did you put money on that game?
What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter if I put money on it or not. What I'm saying is, the fucking dude, Denver went 13-0 one season and they didn't make the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, but the team that goes undefeated, or the team that goes deep into the season with a great record, the fucking Vikings put up 500 points that one year, and they went 15-1 and they fell flat on their face. It happens. And
absolutely, it happens.
Okay, so I'm not sold. I'm not sold on the Steelers, bro. I just gave you facts.
So you're sitting here.
I didn't give you any given Sunday. I gave you facts.
You're sitting here wanting to talk about the 1 in a million that doesn't make it, and you're going to go ahead and call them not contenders because, hey, anybody can lose. That's a fact. That's
it's happened more than once.
What? Okay, then why is it that they're 8-0? Why aren't the Chiefs 9-0?
Okay, you want me to tell you? You want me to tell you why they're 8-0? I can tell you right now.
Yeah, because they win every week.
They played the Giants, they played the Broncos, they played the Texans, they played the Eagles, they played the Browns, the Titans and Ravens, very good wins back-to-back on the road. I'll give them that. And they played the Cowboys. I mean, that right there is why they're 8-0.
Why isn't Kansas City undefeated? They haven't played anything that much more difficult.
They lost to the Raiders, who I'm calling a dark horse. I'm just saying.
We'll see. The Raiders may not even make the playoffs. So dark horse that. I mean, at the end of the day,
the Raiders are 5-3.
Right. And they're tied with 3 other teams for 2 spots. They could be.
Okay, hold on. Time out. Chris Webber, time out. Dolphins, Browns, or Raiders, out of those 3 teams, who do you have more faith in?
And Colts.
Okay, and Colts.
So if I had to rank those 4 teams, I would rank the Colts, the Raiders, the Dolphins, and the Browns, if I had to rank them. But I don't know how they stand right now, right? It's possible, based on the tiebreakers or whatever, that the Raiders are not in. No,
they're not. I think the Dolphins have the tiebreaker over the Browns and the Raiders, I think.
Right now, the Browns would be out.
Right.
The Browns and the Colts would be out.
So the Raiders would make
the 6. The Dolphins would be the 7.
Yeah, man. Listen, out of those 4 teams, and I loved the Colts before the season, I'm taking the Raiders right now, man. I'm taking the fucking Raiders.
I would take the Colts over the Raiders.
Colts are pretty banged up.
They are.
And they've had some bad losses.
But they're pretty damn good too. They're running the ball really well.
I've never seen Phillip Rivers lead any team anywhere, so I'm just saying.
All he's got to do is lead them to the playoffs in this scenario that we're talking about. I'm not saying – see, this is the difference. I'm not saying that the Colts are a contender.
No.
Could they win a game? Could they even make it? Of course they could. Anyone could. You never know what's going to happen. But right now, that does not have the look of a team that I'd be afraid to play in December. Right? I'd be afraid to have to go to Buffalo. Right? Like if it shakes out that the Steelers lose 2 games and they both end up 14-2 and the Steelers have to go to Buffalo, that's a tough game, right? If the AFC Conference Championship game comes down to a Buffalo-Pittsburgh game in Buffalo, man, that's tough. But you could say the same thing about games in Pittsburgh, games in Indianapolis, in Tennessee, and then games in Kansas City. Those 4 division heads, to me, they're all contenders because if you have to go there to win a football game, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be, even for the Chiefs, I think pound for pound, position by position on a neutral field, I think the Chiefs are the best team in football. But if the Chiefs have to go to Pittsburgh to win the AFC Championship, I think the Steelers would win that game. If the Chiefs have to go to Buffalo, I think Buffalo could very well win that game. It's tough.
For this season, and I don't know if things will change for the playoffs. They might. I don't know, right? I mean, with vaccines coming out and all this other bullshit, I don't know. It may change come January, but I'm not, as of now, I'm not putting a lot of weight on the home field stuff because the fans, it's, you know, it's not a lot of fans. Like, it's not a packed stadium, although they have the artificial noise, but it's not the same. So I'm not putting that much weight on the home field advantage stuff.
No, but with all 4 of those teams, there is a different kind of home field advantage, and that's the weather. They're used to the way the wind swirls around in that stadium. It's a little more comfortable for them. They don't have to travel, with delays and all this other stuff that goes on. So that advantage is still there, but you're right. I think home field advantage is not, the old Vegas thing was,
yeah.
The old Vegas thing was that home field advantage was worth 3 points. It's probably more like 2.5 now, 2, right? It's not the same. It's not the same advantage that it used to be.
It's funny. You look at the first 5 teams: Steelers, Chiefs, Bills, Titans, Ravens. No dome teams. They're all cold weather, open field, right?
Well, if you look at it, everybody that would make the playoffs as of today are open air stadiums. Buffalo, Miami, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Tennessee, Indianapolis, Kansas City, and the Raiders. Oh no, Indianapolis is a dome team.
Right. But still, wow.
That's kind of weird, huh?
But yeah,
and we keep sleeping on the Browns. You think they have a chance?
Nah, because Odell's done for the season, and Baker is Baker. He's a below average quarterback, and they're still the fucking Browns.
It's funny. I feel the same way. I just don't trust.
No.
I don't trust Baker Mayfield to be a playoff quarterback.
Right.
At this point, this point, he looks to me like an 8-8 quarterback. Right? He has games where he's really good. He has games where he's really bad. He has series where he makes some unbelievable throws, and then he has series where he makes just some boneheaded throws and ends up throwing in an interception or something. So he's very inconsistent to me right now. I find him very difficult to kind of put my finger on him at all. Since we're just talking conferences and not really talking about games, it's kind of weird. There's not much to talk about, although the Saints put a beating on the Buccaneers last night. I was all excited to watch that game, and about halfway through the second quarter, I was like, this sucks.
Well, what I heard was that Tom Brady is actually preparing for tonight's game. He thought he was playing tonight against the Jets. He was so used to, the AFC East. But I did not see that shit coming at all. I mean, I didn't see it coming at all. I don't know what the fuck that was, but the Saints.
I thought the Saints were going to win that game. I just had kind of a crazy hunch. Not really anything that, just one of those things. I just thought the Saints would win. Look, they're both good teams. The fact that the Saints won wasn't shocking, right? but the way they
No
won
way.
was right.
Right.
So yeah, I didn't. I would if I was betting, I would have bet on the Saints, but I wouldn't have given away 32 points.
No, I'll tell you
I
what.
wouldn't have
The
taken the
Saints already.
Saints at I wouldn't have taken the Saints at minus 34.
Yeah. Nah. No way. So if they end up playing for the third time in the playoffs, let's say the NFC Championship game, you're taking the Saints.
It's really hard to beat a team 3 times.
It is. I know.
I almost wouldn't for that very reason.
And they would
And
have to play at the crock pot.
yeah, and the fact that the quarterback on the other side is Tom Brady, right? Like if the roles were reversed, and I think the world of Drew Brees, but if the roles were reversed, I wouldn't be as scared of picking against Drew Brees because I don't think of Drew Brees as the kind of quarterback that would have this massive chip on his shoulder and be like, no way you beat me 3 times in 1 year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know.
I know
I
that's a
think I would
weird thing
lean
to think
Bucks.
about, but
Yeah, that's tough, man. But um,
if you look at the standings in the NFC, we won't talk about the East. One of those four teams will get a shot in the playoffs, and they will get a home game. So let's just think about the other 6 spots.
hey, man, don't discredit the NFC East, bro, because I can't wait until one of those 4 teams, I can't wait for one of them to make the playoffs, get a home game, and the whole world will be mad at it. Like, I don't care who it is at this point. I just want to see it happen.
Think about it.
6 wins.
They would play the best wild card team. So right now, the best wild card team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Can you imagine a 6-9-1 Eagles team at home against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers?
No, but I could imagine the Giants who fucking had them beat, play them and beat them. Absolutely. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm all for it, man. I can't wait. I'm super excited about the Giants because we have a chance, and I don't care how many fucking wins it takes.
I mean, you're only well, let's see, 2-7.
Game and a half.
1, 3, 2. You're 2.5 games out right now.
And then we play the Eagles this coming up week. We can make up a game there.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
If the Giants beat the Eagles, I mean, you're right there.
Well, yeah, I know. I don't care if we go in there with 5 wins. I don't care.
At 3-7, it's going to be hilarious if a team in that division goes 5-11 and wins the division.
The world's going to be so mad, and I don't care. You know why? Because if their teams got in the same way,
yeah,
they'd be happy about it. They're going to the playoffs. They have a chance.
Yeah, exactly. If a team makes the playoffs at 5-11, will Trump demand a recount?
Possibly.
They got to count the wins again. You know, there's they've got 9 wins in that entire division.
Yeah, it's bad. It's a bad division. But look. I'll say this, man. I haven't watched. I watch all the Giants games. They're playing close games, man. Like, they've had games that they've been winning that they should have won, and I know coulda, woulda, should have, but they had games against the Cowboys that they were winning. They had the game against the Bucks that they were. I mean, that's a game against the fucking Eagles. That's a 3-game swing right there, man. Like, it's a team that's playing better. So
you're saying they could very easily be 5-4 right now and just running away with the East.
Possibly. I mean, look, man, I don't care. You can laugh at me all you fucking want, but guess what? I watch all their games, and they play better. They are playing better. So, having said that, it's not how you start; it's how you finish. That's it.
Look, they can go on a 7-game run here and end up 9-7.
Nah, they won't go on no fucking 7-game win streak. But what I'm saying is, they're playing better. And right now, even if it's just this much better, it's better than the other 3 teams in that division. So
Well,
I don't
look,
care how we get in. If we crawl, stumble, fall down 10 flights of stairs to get in, we get in.
I will say this. You can kiss the Cowboys goodbye, right? They're on a third string quarterback. Their running back doesn't want to play. McCarthy's lost the locker room. The defense is horrible. Dallas is done, right? Washington is down to their third string quarterback, which is an amazing story in Alex Smith. But let's face it, Alex Smith just went through a career-threatening injury, life-threatening injury. So I don't expect much from him. And quite frankly, the rest of that football team is just not very good. So really the only competition they have is an Eagles team that is banged up and not very good either. Carson Wentz has his moments where he's a decent quarterback, has his moments where he's a terrible quarterback. It's impossible to figure out what that man is doing. And they have no receivers. He has no help. So it's tough. And, the Giants at least are healthy. They don't have Saquon Barkley, but they're finding a way to run the ball and score some points, right? But
we'll see what happens.
Yeah. The rest of the NFC, you've got the Packers at 6-2, the Saints at 6-2, and the Seahawks at 6-2, all leading their divisions. Close on their tail, the Bears at 5-4, Bucks at 6-3, and the Cardinals and Rams both at 5-3. Which one of those teams does not? I mean, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams for 6 spots, all within a game of each other. Who gets left? Who's going to be the number 1 overall seed, and who gets left out?
Ooh, the number 1 overall seed. Shit. I'm going to say the Saints. I think they have this. The Seahawks defense is kind of, it's worrisome, I think. I think it is. And then the Packers, they're losing players to fucking COVID. They got injuries too.
Yeah.
They're short on wide receivers. I mean, they got Devontae Adams, who's great, Aaron Jones and all that, but I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think they can. They'll take that one spot.
Especially because they do have the head-to-head advantage with Tampa, right? So it's possible that they could end up tied at 12-4, but the tiebreaker would be head-to-head. New Orleans has that. So they've got not just a half-game lead in actual standings, but they've got a bit of a half-game advantage even going forward. So I'm gonna go ahead and say I think New Orleans will be the 1 seed, and I think I'm torn between the Bears and the Rams as being left out.
Wait, the top 7 make it, right?
Right. So it's.
Oh, that's an easy one. That's an easy one.
What?
You cannot trust the Bears. There's no way.
But can you trust the Rams?
A little bit more than the Bears, yes. They don't even know who's
I can't trust
either
one of them. I can't trust either one of them at this point.
Yeah, but the Rams got it. The Rams have a more stabilized team, I think. The Bears.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But you know what's funny about the Rams? Ever since that Super Bowl against the Patriots, the Rams have been kind of like a car with bad gas in it, right? It's got a good engine, but it's got some bad gas in it that makes it lurch forward, and sometimes it runs, and sometimes it kind of wants to stall out. There's something about that team that's not quite moving in the right direction. Well, it's moving in the right direction, but it's not smoothly. It's not picking up speed as the season goes on. And the Bears, for as bad as they've been, and they're the worst 5-4 team I've ever seen. They find a way to win games sometimes, and it's scary to me.
Hopefully they don't finish tied, because remember the Rams have the tiebreak over the Bears. But
I'll tell you who else we need to keep an eye on. A team that's getting healthy and the schedule's kind of turning in their favor a little bit now. The Minnesota Vikings. I know they're 3-5, but they could go on a run here and end up, at maybe 10-6, maybe 9-7. They could be a real problem, certainly in the NFC North, but they could be fighting for a playoff spot.
I like the Raiders, I agree with you. I think they're a dark horse to possibly, overtake those two teams and climb in there. If you look at their schedule, and Dalvin Cook is playing some fucking phenomenal football. I mean,
Unbelievable
he's running
football.
through motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Look at the Vikings schedule. At Bears, Cowboys, Panthers, Jaguars, Buccaneers, Bears, Saints, Lions. I mean, you might see 2 or 3 losses there,
And, the Bears are right in front of them, 2 games ahead of them. If they win the 2 head-to-head games with the Bears, they're tied, and they've got the tiebreaker. So they really look like they could move up. I mean, if you look at that schedule, right, you're looking at 3, 6, 8 games left, right, at 3 and 5. It's not impossible for them to go 6-2.
No?
They could beat the Bears twice.
Yeah.
They're going to beat the Cowboys, the Panthers, the Jaguars. The Buccaneers and Saints are tough, especially because both of them are on the road. But
Right.
the rest of the way, they're going to be playing a Lions team that, is going to fire their head coach immediately after that game. So how much motivation is there going to be in that game, right? They could be looking at 9-7 by the end of the year, and with injuries to other teams and how things shake out, you never know. The Cardinals and the Rams may fall apart, and they could sneak in.
I think they'll fall short. I think they'll fall short because they still have to climb uphill, right?
Right.
They don't have that safety blanket where they have a couple games on, right? So they got to climb uphill. And I don't know if we can trust Kirk Cousins. He's still he'll play well, but then he'll have some bonehead games. I don't know if he can be trusted 100%.
I'm going on record right now. The Vikings are going to make the playoffs.
Whoa!
I just talked myself into it.
I don't think that's a bad pick. That you're trying, because you're trying to go opposite of me.
No. I just have a, especially after looking at their next 8 games, I think they could go 6-2, and I don't trust the Rams, and I don't really trust Arizona either. So
I think Arizona gets in. I think they can withstand.
They're a pretty good football team, but when you get a rookie quarterback coming to your stadium and you can't beat that, you can't hold on to a lead against a rookie quarterback at home, that to me is a bit of a warning flag.
Yeah, could be.
Plus, it makes my story about the Vikings making it more incredible.
Believable,
I should say.
Yeah, the Vikings very well look like a dark horse. So
yeah. And any other dark horses? I don't think so, really.
No, maybe the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe. Long shot, dark horse. Listen to what I tell you.
I mean, that's more than a dark horse. That's
Matt Ryan has some fucking great numbers this season. He's got some great numbers, man.
Yeah, the team is awful. Schedule. Offensively, they're okay, but defensively, they're terrible.
Oh, yeah, no, they got to see. They play the Saints, Raiders, Chargers, Bucks, Chiefs.
They got to play the Saints twice.
They're a super duper triple long shot.
Yeah, I know. They're not making it.
They can't make that now. No way.
All right, man. What else you got?
What do you think the odds are a running back wins MVP this year in football?
Tiny.
Yeah,
look, you know how it is. We love us some quarterback.
That's a shame because Alvin Kamara, I agree with you, but Alvin Kamara is having a great season, and he's been their wide receiver / running back. Michael Thomas has missed a lot of time. They mentioned it last night in the game, and I'm like, you know what? I thought about it. I'm like, shit, he does deserve some votes. I don't know if he'll get any, but
he's got some video game numbers, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, they're not crazy, but I mean, still, of course, he plays on a team that has Drew Brees, so they'll probably give it to him before anything.
Exactly what we were complaining about, right?
Yeah. So, but
Yeah, he didn't have great numbers. It's weird. Like, no one really had great numbers last night for the Saints, but it was a whole slew of people, right? Like, they didn't have anyone over 100 yards rushing or receiving.
damn.
But yet, and Drew Brees only threw for 222. Taysom Hill had 48 yards of passing. Jameis
But
Winston
shit,
had 12.
I
I mean,
think
they
he
only
threw
threw
to
for 282 yards.
I think he threw to like 10 different receivers in the first quarter alone. Some shit like that.
Yeah, he threw to everybody.
And some people on Twitter were saying that the Saints or Drew Brees was stat padding, and I'm like, that is completely wrong. They keep their foot on the gas. It doesn't matter who they're playing. That's what they do.
Yeah, no, that's just the way it is. And God, Brady had 200. Brady only had 209 yards.
The
For,
Bucks only ran the ball 3 times last night.
huh?
The Bucks only ran the ball 3 times.
5
5? They were probably kneel downs.
for 8 yards.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
that's what happens when you get behind, 30-0.
Yeah, but even so, even getting behind, Brady only had 209 yards. Right? You would have thought he had 300 because they were behind. I mean, they were 20 points down halfway through the second quarter. So he
Yeah.
had half a football game to make up 20 points plus.
Yeah, that Saints defense was on that ass though, man.
Yeah, the pass rush was insane.
So
Oh well, that's the way it goes. You got anything else you want to talk about NFL related?
yeah, I think we've covered all of it.
We've covered all the bases. The NBA talking about starting in December, end of December. The NBA players don't want to. I don't understand why. Like, I understand that it's a job, but I mean, it's still a game, right? Like, you're
They
getting
had two off
2+
seasons.
months off.
I mean, they had two off seasons in 1 year.
Yeah, what's the big deal?
I don't understand.
I don't understand. And then they're talking about LeBron. Well, he may not come back. Fine, start the season without him. It doesn't
I'm
matter
cool with
now.
that.
LeBron is not. This is not prime LeBron anymore. We can't run everything around LeBron. I mean, he's still the most visible player, but there's enough talent now in the NBA, and he's a little bit older that you got a lot of other guys that you like watching. You know what I mean? So if we start the season without LeBron and all we get is Steph Curry and Kevin Durant comes back and you still got the Greek Freak and you still got Kawhi Leonard.
I'm
Okay,
cool with that.
I don't under. It's just not. It's not like everybody's gonna be like, oh no, LeBron, no need to watch it. Maybe
Right.
5, 7 years ago, yeah, if LeBron wasn't going to play, it's like, well, he's the best player. We want to see him play every night, right? But
Right.
now there's a lot of other guys now that'd be like, yeah, okay. I mean, I wish LeBron was here, but I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy this Steph Curry game.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I hope they start up on Christmas or right around Christmas because, I mean, the slate of games is going to be good, and I'll be watching.
Yeah, 72 games, so they're gonna compress the season a little bit, but they're still playing less than normal. I think it's a good plan. I'm glad that they're
They
looking to move
they
forward.
should go bubble. They should go bubble again. I think. Go
72
bubble.
games is 72 games is too long to go bubble.
Yeah, have a couple breaks in between.
2-week break, mid-season
Have
break.
two of them. That gives them an extra month off.
No, the stop and start thing ain't cool either. Not that
Yeah,
much.
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. The bubble, I mean, the bubble obviously works, right? But those guys, I mean, that's a long time to be in a bubble.
Yeah, that is 72 games. That's a lot.
Yeah. So I don't know. They have to figure something out though. I think
I'm sure they'll figure it out.
most guys want to play. So I think it's just LeBron that doesn't want to.
Well, if they're smart, they'll schedule, geographical wise, you just got to schedule the back-to-backs or whatever,
Yeah.
closer to, just schedule it right, and then they'll be fine, right? Less travel time. You can,
make the back-to-backs at home.
That too.
That's the real thing right there, right?
Right.
That's always the hard part of the back-to-backs is, or like a lot of teams from the East when they come down here and they do the Texas three-step, right, where they got to go Houston, Dallas, San Antonio,
right?
Whatever order, right? That's what makes it tough. But if they do those back-to-backs at home, then it wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
What else you got?
That's it, man. That's all I have.
You gonna wrap this puppy up or what?
Yeah, let's do that. As always, folks, if you want to get a hold of us, you can email us. Email the show, positivesports10@gmail.com, positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to get a hold of Alex, how do they do that?
On Twitter at Brooklyn Gaucho 1.
And if you want to get a hold of me, you can do so on Twitter as well at eMontana21. Hey, one quick announcement. I am running a real live marathon on December 13th. I'm going up to College Station, Texas. For those of you who think College Station sounds familiar, it's the home of Texas A&M University. And I'm going to run the Bryant College Station Marathon on December 13th. So I am immediately on a diet and training. I've been running pretty good, but I have not been eating pretty good. So now I got to eat pretty good. So I'm going to be grouchy. So next week, I may rip your head off. We may have to keep doing the virtual thing because
I think so. I want to stay away from you.
I'm going to get grouchy. But the good thing is I'm going to get rid of all this facial hair by Thanksgiving.
What? You're not going to keep it?
I can't eat as much turkey as I want with all this facial hair, and that'll be my cheat day.
Yeah, but you can hide food in there, you know what I mean? And
that's true.
That's it. Some leftovers.
All right, man.
All right, brother.
Sounds good. Hey, everybody, chill out. Let them count. Let them recount. Cheer your guy on. Don't be disparaging to the other side. Don't talk shit about the other side. Just let's be one. Whether it ends up being Biden, I think it's going to be Biden, or even if it goes back and ends up being Trump, let's be one. Let's be one country. This is the greatest country on the planet. I said it before Election Day. I'll say it again after Election Day. I don't care who you voted for. I don't even care if you voted. I only care that we are one. We are all Americans. We all need to work together to make this the best place it is. And with that, as always, folks, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.